Hi y'all, it's me. I'm here today with a project share and a small tutorial of something that I was inspired by a person called Sincerely Rena here on YouTube. It's a video in one of my saved folders. It's probably over 8 years old, but I wanted to bring it forward because I thought it was such a cute project for what I'm making it for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you what it is, and then I'm going to lay out the cutting pieces for you, and then we'll make the base of it together. I won't decorate it because I feel like that's like a personal thing. You can do your own thing once you get the base made. So we'll do that part together only, and then you can take it from there. So first, let me show you what it is. Now, most of you who have been following me a long time know I love decorating for holidays, and I love tablescapes, and I love making favors for my guests who share a meal with me. And so that is what this is. And this version is a Halloween version. And this is what it looks like. It's a little favor box. And as you can see, it's covered all around. These are digital prints that I'm using. On this one, I have some handmade flowers, a sentiment that's digital that I backed with glitter paper, a small spider. This is a spider ring from Dollar Tree. I cut the back off, and then some cheesecloth there. Up here, some sprigs from the Dollar Tree, a piece that I cut off of, and a bat ring, which I removed the back and glued it here. Stamped sentiment on glitter paper. He's a die cut, and he just so happened that his eyes lined up with the polka dots on the thing, so it worked out really cute. And then I have a spider web here in the background. And then this pushes open, and inside it houses, in mine, has 3 miniature Hershey bars. You could probably use the nuggets, maybe the round, what are those, Rocher things? Those, I don't eat them, but anyway, those round ones could fit in there. So whatever little treat you'd like to give your gift in to your guest. And then on the back, you could add a solid piece of paper and write a sentiment to your guests like, thank you for sharing my table with me this holiday, or whatever you want. But just a nice way. These could be used for holidays, birthdays, just because, any kind of special occasion. I think they're just so cute, and you could do so many things with them, and as far as the decorating goes. So the one that I'm going to be making for my Thanksgiving table is this one. And basically, you can see I did the same thing. I cut the pattern papers. These are digitals from my stash. I used some scattered leaves from Hobby Lobby, some die cut leaves from my stash, some button twine, some bling. This is a digital image I printed and fussy cut and laid there on some foam dots. This came from either Hobby Lobby or Dollar Tree, I don't remember which, but it's the little pumpkin and some straw. And then I have a digital image here, the leaves and etc. And again, this box pushes out, and you can fill it with whatever you'd like. I haven't filled mine yet because I don't know what I'm putting in there. I'll probably add something to this as well, but I'll get over that when I show you the next one. Also, you can notice here I used a solid for color for this, and then a solid color for this. You can do it however you'd like. You could use a double-sided paper to avoid having to do a layering piece, but if you do, I would make sure it's non-directional, since this gets folded and the pattern would be twisted upside down. So I think it's better to use a solid. Plus, I think it looks much more elegant with a solid border around the edge. So that's the one I will be creating. And then I did a Christmas version, of course, with my favorite collection, Snow and Cocoa. And I have the digital, so that's what these were done in. You can see here I added an eyelet with some jingle bells and a little snowflake. So you could add things like that to it. You can make them pop up. You can do whatever you want, all kinds of things. So some of these are popped up on foam dots to give it some dimension. I have some thread back there, some digital ephemera. These pieces right here, I made sure to glue them with hot glue so they would stand up in the forefront of the design. That's a little resin piece. Digital images layered with thread and pom-pom. And again, on this one I used a different color for the box than I did for the outside, but I did cover all sides of the project. So now I'm going to lay out for you the pieces that you'll need to cut if you're using a solid with a pattern. This is the pieces you will need, and if you're using just pattern double-sided, these will be the only pieces you'll need. So those are that. And then for the pattern paper, I will lay those out here so you can see those as well. And you might want to screenshot this so you can have them for your reference. Just to inform you, solid is solid. PP is pattern paper. The parenthesis number is how many you need of that piece. And also, like this one, you may only need 2 of these if you choose not to cover the bottom, because that's the bottom piece for the bottom. What else do I need to tell you? As far as direction goes, if you're using a pattern paper with a solid, you want to make sure your pattern paper, if it's directional, is cut following those directions. Otherwise, it'll be upside down and wrong. So go ahead and screenshot that, and then we'll do one together. Okay? Alrighty. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring over my paper trimmer. And I'm going to do a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. You can get 2 boxes with one 12 by 12 solid. Of course, you'll still need your pattern paper unless you're using double-sided. So the first way to maximize the usage of the 12 by 12 is to cut 2 strips that measure 3.5 inches. So I'm going to bring that to the 3.5, and I'm going to cut. And I'm going to repeat that same thing with the remaining piece of paper at 3.5 and cut. So now you should have 2 of these at 3.5 by 12, but we only need them to be 3.5 by 9. So I'm going to go ahead and slide those in here and cut them at 9 inches. So now you'll have this other piece you don't need, but you'll have 2 of these bigger pieces that you do need. With the remaining piece of 12 by 12 that's left, you need to cut this to measure 4.25. So we're going to do that. 4.25. You're going to end up with this piece you won't need. Put it off to the side. And then you need this to measure 4.25 by 6. So by cutting this in half, you will have 2 pieces that measure 4.25 by 6. Right there. There's your pieces that you need. So now you've got 2 bases ready to be made. I'm only going to work with 1, so I'm going to put 2 aside, get rid of my cutting board, and bring over my scoreboard. Okay, we're going to start with the 9 by 3.5, and we're going to put it on the 9-inch side. Before you score, or if you're following along, please wait to go to the next number and hear what I'm saying before you see it, because the one you have to pay attention to is one down here. That's the most important. So let's start off with the first one, 1/2 inch. The next one is at 2. Then we're going to go 3.5. And then we're going to do 5. And then the last one, which is the last one, is at 6.5. This one you're going to do, excuse me, very lightly. You don't want to fold on that, so you don't need it to be, excuse me, heavy. You just want a really light score. That's going to help you to fold this up, and you'll see what I mean later. And you actually don't really need it if you follow along with what I do, but it's there in case you need it. So let's just pretend you're going to need it. So I'm going to set that aside for a minute. We're going to bring in the next piece, which was the 4.25 by 6. And this one you're going to score at 1 3/8 on all 4 sides. If you're not familiar with the 3/8, it's 3 tick marks after the number 1. So we're going to score 1 3/8. Rotate your paper. 1 3/8. Rotate again. 1 3/8. And rotate again. 1 3/8. Oops. 1, 2, 3. Right there. I don't need my scoreboard anymore. I'm done with that. The next thing we need are our scissors. We're going to make some cuts. Please pay attention to the slivers that you're going to be removing. It's important to keep your box nice, looking nice. So the first cuts we're going to make are from the small score line up to the first score line. So we're going to cut straight right there. Don't angle yet. Don't do your angle cuts. Just do that on both sides here. Now when you cut the slivers, we want to cut them out of these side pieces, not the middle piece, because that will make your box look awkward on the outside. And you'll see what I mean when I get this going. So start from the outside to cut your sliver on the side panels, not on the middle panel. And then we're going to repeat that step on the opposite end. Up to the score line, straight. And then we're going to angle from the outside and from the outside. Those are just so your box will fold nicer and give you a nicer appearance. So basically what happens is when you fold this, if you have that angle cut, it's going to show at the box down here. It'll show as an angle. You don't want that to happen. So those pieces will go on the inside, and that square one that's in the middle will stay on the outside, and it will look neat. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that. And we would normally, I would be using hot glue, but for this I'm just going to use some wet glue so I can get this going pretty quickly. And these pieces are going to fold in to the center like that. And of course you wanted to burnish all your score lines, so you know that's a given. I didn't even bring it up because we all know that you need to do that. But anyway, let's just hold that there for a moment. Now, normally I would have papered this first, but this piece is easy to paper. It's the next one that will paper. I'm not worried about it. So we'll paper that one before folding. This one, like I said, it's not a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and fold up my scores, add some glue. Oops. A little bit of wet glue. Wet glue. Again, do this better than I am. This is just for the video. Fold those in and fold up your, and keep everything nice and square right there, like that. Now on this one, I'm going to go ahead and get my pattern papers that I have set aside for this, and I'm going to glue them onto the ends of the box. So I'll just put some glue on here and then set them on my, and you don't want to paper the entire piece because it will be too thick to fit into the little area that it's going into with the sleeve. So let's just get this one down on the opposite end. These measure 1 1/4 square. You can change your measurements of the pattern paper if you want more of the, less of the border showing. I like it when a lot of the border shows. I think it looks classier. So there you go. That piece is done, and we're going to set that off to the side. The next one we're going to bring over is our 9 by 3.5. And I'm going to go ahead and fold these score lines for the purpose of this, but I'm not folding on that last one. Remember the 6.5 that I said to do lightly? That's that one right there. I'm not going to fold there, only to the 5. And I'm only folding it with you so that you can see how the pattern paper is going to fall on here. I didn't want to just lay it down because you might not see what I'm doing. So my pattern paper, I'm going to go ahead and put on here. Now this step right here before you continue, if you choose to, you can take a corner rounder and you can corner round the tops of your, the top of the thing that you're making. Just these 2 corners right here, nothing else, because you don't want to corner around the others. They need to be square. And then whatever paper you're going to put down at this piece, you need to also corner around those so they'll match the part you have. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. And this is towards the, we're gluing this on the part where the fold is going up, where it's folding up. That's this one piece you're going to put on, and it's going to go above that invisible score line that we have there. You're going to kind of center it right in there like that. And then you're going to turn that over, and now we're going to paper the remaining part of this. So again, if you corner round, you need to do that to your, to your pieces so that they are corner rounded as well. And the measurements were given ahead of time for these pieces, so I'm not repeating them. I'm just going to go ahead with the tutorial. You can always refer back to that, and I will try to remember to list them if I can. If I remember, I probably won't. But anyway, this one's going to go here, and this is why non-directional paper is good, because you don't have to worry about, is it right facing the right way or not facing the right way. These 3 sections here are, one of them is the bottom. The middle one is going to be the bottom. Well, not the middle one. It's actually this one. This one right here is going to be the bottom. And if you don't want to paper that, you don't have to. That's where I was telling you could cut 2 instead of 3, but I'm going to cover all 3 because that's what I want to do with mine. I like having all the pieces covered well. So we're going to go that one. And we're going to go this one. I'm trying to do this quickly for y'all so you can get on with the next video. And then the last one. And we're almost done. These, like I said, they come once if you do what do they call that, assembly line, and cut all your pieces ahead of time, you can make a bunch of these in minutes. They're so fast. So now you have this. So the next thing you're going to do is that invisible line is right here. I don't know if you could see it right there, but really, like I said, you don't really need it, but for people that are not confident in themselves, you may want it. But if you basically put glue on that little flap and lay it down, and then lay this down, it should line up right to that line. But if you chose not to do it this way and you just want to hold it up in the air and make it, that line is there to help guide you of where to glue that little panel to. And then you just pop it up, and there's your receptacle for the little box that we made, which is here, and you just slip that in, and there you go. You have your little box, and then you can choose to embellish and decorate as you please. So that is my tutorial for these cute little favor boxes. I hope that you make some for yourself, and I hope that you enjoy them and share them with me if you do make them. I'd love to see your versions, because I'm telling you, there's so many ways you could go with this. I think it would be such a fun project, just when those days when you're sitting around saying, you know, I don't have anything much to do, I feel like crafting, I don't know what. This would be something fun just to sit and make, because it's so simple. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and until next time, do what makes you happy. Bye for now.